It is hard to believe, my little darklings, but we are finally here. This is the Paranormal 60 Presents, this season on Ghosts of Devil's Perch. End of Lines, our season finale, when we return to the Paranormal 60.
I'm not gonna stand here and listen to this baloney.
You won't know. He doesn't stand for baloney.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the program. It is hard to believe, but we're at the end of the road, or the end lines, if you will. This is the final recap for the Ghosts of Devil's Perch Season 1. And I just had a whirlwind weekend and thought I'd start off with that. We've got some great guests that are going to join me throughout the evening. We've got KD Stafford, of course. We've got our showrunner, director, and producer, Brian Peterson, will be with us. But first, let me bring on my cohort for the weekend. We had just an amazing time back in Butte. Ladies and gentlemen, historian Chris Fisk. Welcome back, Chris.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. It's nice to be back, and it was wonderful to have you in Butte, America. Man, that was a good time.
It was, and I've got some fun memories that I thought I'd pop up and share real quick. We started off, we had a lot. Fisk made sure that while I was there, my boots never left the ground. We started off at the local radio station, and this is KBOW, where we were part of their trivia hour, and we were asking trivia questions, telling behind-the-scenes stories, and having a good time together. And maybe you can introduce to the viewers that are watching this, who are the two hosts from
bet.
KBOW?
Well, that's Maggie Davis, and Shane Cox. And they are personalities with KBOW. Maggie is actually the daughter of the owner, but holds her own definitely in the media area. And some of you may recognize Shane. Shane was one of the finalists on America's Got Talent as a magician, but both wonderful former students of mine that now run the station. So it's exciting.
Who's not a former student of yours in the town of Butte?
I got quite a few. I
got to tell you, folks, being there this weekend, you realize the scope of this man. He comes off as this humble, fine little high school teacher, but the entire town bows down to the greatness that is Chris Fisk. He is so well loved and respected throughout the entire town. We had a great time this weekend. We also made a stop out at the site of our final episode. Yeah, the World Museum of Mining with the owner allowed us to come in and do a special book signing where we got to meet and greet, and Fisk and I were there meeting a great lineup of people that came out to see us and get copies of my books and some of the Paranormal 60 bling that we carry, and lots of photos, lots of hugs, lots of great times. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we were off on the 2022 Spooks and Spirits Haunted Trolley Tour. And they lived up to their name as we visited all of the cool places seen on the hauntings of the Devil's Perch, and had a chance to be a part of that ride and tell some of the backstories and share some fun stories along the ride, and share that haunted history with two great trolleyfuls full of people, one on Friday night, one on Saturday night.
That was a total blast. And to have you here, sharing your insights to the investigations and some of the things that didn't make the final cuts. It was a wonderful experience for all who were on board, including myself and Jim McCarthy, who you see sitting in the well of the trolley.
That's
there.
Right. No, it's funny. We're all having a great time, but from these photographs, you couldn't tell it. What a somber-looking group. But you got to understand, we're telling.
No, they were wild, man.
We're telling some tragic stories, and they were riveted by the stories that were being shared. And then here we are again out at the World Museum of Mining with our trolley full of friends and having a great time. And you might recognize some of those people that you saw on the trolley and in this group, because they were extras on the Ghosts of Devil's Perch. They played many of the different characters. And then came the highlight for me. We got a chance to go back, and we went to the Motherlode Theater and and did another meet and greet and book signing, and just had a great time meeting and talking to all of the people. And then we had a full packed audience. Yeah.
It was
and
loaded.
Then the most terrifying moment of my career is seeing myself on an actual movie screen and realizing how many chins are actually visible. So it was just one great moment after another. We even had some of the other special guests came out. I think KD will like this. The owner of the Hennessy Mansion came out and cut a ping pong ball in half and made me pose with the balls over my eyes again, like we did in that episode. And he said he absolutely loved the episode, loved what we did with it in the history, and had a great time. And then we wrapped it all up with a private investigation back in the mines at the World Museum of Mining. And it was just a great time. So many wonderful people.
If you were into the paranormal, Butte was the place to be this weekend. And we try and do a big gig, during the month of October with the trolley and the hauntings.
Right.
And open it up to as many people as we can. And this year, of course, we were fortunate enough to have you with us. And I'm just going to tell you, it was so special to have you guys here. It was you and Colonel.
The Colonel.
The Colonel came along. What an endearing individual.
Yeah, good guy.
Here's the deal. Dave Butte loved you guys.
Well, thank you.
Butte loved the production.
Well, hold tight. Let's wait till we bring the other guys on so you can let them know how much Butte loves them. Because during the screening, I got a text message from this guy, our showrunner, Brian Peterson. And he says to me, Schrader.
Good, man. How you doing?
We're doing awesome.
He says to me, Schrader, how are they taking it? How does Butte like the Ghost of Devil's Perch? Let's show him. Hey, Peterson, I just got your text message. You wanted to know how it went here and how people liked the series finale. How about if I just let them tell you? Season 2! Season 2! Season 2! Season 2! Season 2! So, Brian, I would say they liked the season finale of The Ghost of Devil's Perch. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now as well, somewhere in a dark dungeon, KD Stafford. Look at him hidden away. Like he's
Is he back in the mine?
I know.
I may be back in the mine. I don't know, Brian.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Peterson. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Fisk?
Hey, doing great, kid.
Pleasure as always.
As it is for me, and to be on again with the three of you guys. Man, this has been one lucky couple of years for me to get to know you guys. And
absolutely, man.
Butte, love
it's all on our side, man. Trust me.
Yeah. Well, I gotta tell you, KD, Brian, Fisk, Cindy wanted to join us. She's been traveling nonstop. She's not feeling well tonight. She felt horrible about it, but she wanted me to send her love to all of the viewers and all of the people that help support this program through the 8 episodes, and said thank you from the bottom of her heart. She really wishes she could have been here with us tonight, but she is in spirit. But I got to tell you, Brian, KD, going back into Butte, I didn't know, you shoot a TV show about their town and kind of some of the dark, seedier underbelly history. And I don't know how they're going to take it. And I got in, I don't think I met one person that wasn't excited about the program. And, there were even people that were saying, hey, I'm not a paranormal person, but my wife or my husband is, and we watch it together and absolutely loved it. Our kids watch it with us. And it really reached a lot of people. And I thought it was sweet at the season finale episode after it got done airing. There was a lot of teary eyes in the audience.
That was sad for a lot of the Butte folks. I guess with the finale comes the end, and there's no guarantees for the future, obviously, but it was an incredible experience for so many Butteians. And I think people around the country and, in fact, the world that enjoyed the series. I guess it reminds me as a teacher, there was a line I always used with my students, and I love to quote Dr. Seuss, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. And it was a great thing that happened. Absolutely no doubt. The talents of yourself and KD and Cindy, and then Brian. My God, how do I even start there? Absolutely incredible. And by the way, I saw pictures of you as Ferdinand Van Zandt. I was rather impressed.
And I was willing to bet. I'm willing to bet the scene where the guy is running down the tunnel with the duster on. I'm almost 100% sure that's also Brian Peterson.
Oh, the secret's out. TV magic.
I'm the cheapest actor on set.
The most versatile, long and lanky, and you put him in a duster coat and a hat, and he looks terrifying running down a dark tunnel at you.
The physique is quite nice also, Brian. I'm just saying, when you were the dark figure a lot, I'm just saying that skin tight leotard. Hey, all the yoga's paying off.
I'm just bummed that we didn't end up using the shot of KD as one of the police officers that was beating the snot out of Terry.
Hey, you know what? I got made on that. My cousin made me. She was like, I saw you as the cop.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, no.
I did as well. I was telling my wife and kids. I said, that's KD right there.
That's so
cool. And then, of course, Ferdinand, when I saw you as him, that was a dead giveaway. No pun intended.
Peterson, I got to tell you, when you get on the trolley tour there in Butte and you take the Ghosts of Devil's Perch, the Hauntings of Devil's Perch trolley tour, they give everybody a placard, and they've got this thing you have to wear on their neck. It's like a giant game of Clue. Everybody is a character from the story.
Yeah.
And now that I've supplied them with the portrait of you standing out there as Ferdinand Van Zandt, they're going to officially replace the fake picture they have of Ferdinand Van Zandt and put you in there. So you are now a part of Fisk's trolley tour. So
I'll take it, man.
It's truly an honor, Brian. That's truly an honor.
These people love the history. They love the mysteries behind it. And what was so cool, guys, KD, Peterson, I got to tell you, what was really cool was hearing how many people that grew up in Butte didn't know these deeper elements of the history. And they're like, Fisk's a great teacher, and we learned a lot in history, but you could tell you pushed Fisk, and he came up with amazing stories, and so did the Wolfpack. And so it was really great to hear them. And what everybody was saying to me time after time, whether we were in a bar or a cafe or Buffalo Wild Wings watching the Vikings game, they kept walking up and they're like, thank you guys for what you did for Butte. Thank you for sharing our history and being respectful and sharing our ghosts and our teacher, Chris Fisk. We love it all. And it was humbling, guys. And I'm not kidding you. It was everywhere we went.
Sure. I mean, look,
very humbling.
Yeah. For me, coming in, I work in this genre quite a bit, and obviously you guys do as well. But it's like, often you'll kind of come in the wake of people who are a little bit apprehensive about dealing with people in the paranormal community, because there's a sort of a lot of creative license people will take with some of the history. And for me, it's like, I always believe that the truth is stranger than fiction. So you try to go in there and uncover the real history that's happened there. But look, at the same time, you go to a location once and it's definitely it was a daunting task to go into Butte and deal with some of the history, the deeper elements of it. It was I guess I really wanted to be respectful of the history and do right by the town, and I feel like we were able to do that with Chris's help.
Oh, Brian, you did more than well with our community.
Yeah. I don't honestly, I mean, sure, there are other people that probably could have gotten by in that role as the historian, but nobody could have made it as successful, I believe, as Mr. Chris Fisk himself.
Thank you, KD. Thank you very much, guys.
I kept telling everybody he came in like a cannonball every episode.
Dude, just so much excitement
motivated. And energy.
Yeah, he motivated me. Like, I'd be like, oh man, I don't know if he's like, hey, what's up? Just going, just ready to go, like twice as much energy as I have.
A lot of the questions we got about this was and I'll run the gamut here. We'll start out with you, Peterson. I mean, this was a baby. This was something that you helped to create and craft and follow. What episode stood out the most for you? What was your favorite episode?
A couple of them. I think that for me, the Cabbage Patch for sure, because it was so, traumatic what happened to you, and then having to rejigger the entire team, because that was something that really happened, and we didn't have a plan for it. We had, you have a plan when you go to shooting. Okay, Monday is going to be this. Tuesday we're going to recap and talk to the historian and maybe do some investigations that kind of tag on to the baseline, and then Wednesday we do a main investigation. But having you in the hospital and unable to get part of the production really threw us for a loop. And then also to have at the end of that the Cabbage Patch night with all those kids able to come and participate, and to watch you guys interacting with the kids and with the town, it really felt like it brought home to me like the best. It was not really even a part of my job, because that's never something I've ever experienced before. But to watch that's something that we helped to create, and to be able to share it in this very wholesome as paranormal stuff can be, this really wholesome moment of the kids around the campfire listening to you guys talk, I thought was something I'll never forget. And it's definitely one of the most, my cherished memories of working in TV.
I'll tell you, the kids of Butte, Montana will never forget that either. And how open, not only, your investigators, but you even came out, and the kids were asking you questions, how do you put this together? Yeah. How does this work? Are you enjoying Butte? Are you afraid? What's your most scariest moment? I mean, if you can get kids engaged, boy, that's the top of the pier. That's when learning occurs. And you guys were so open to it, all of you.
Well, let me tell people this too, Fisk, because I want people around the world, and there are teachers out there watching this right now. And this isn't just meant to blow Chris's horn, but this guy teaches in an amazing way that reaches kids. I grew up, and when I went to school, the clubs that were popping were, whatever sport was hot, or whatever D&D clubs and stuff back in the 80s. It was always that kind of stuff. The science club, the history club, maybe there was 4 or 5 people in them, and they were always boneheads, right? And the guys that sat in the front row, no. But with this, it is insane. In the town of Butte, you wear the history club badge as a badge of honor. The president of the history club. There's how many active members of the history club from the high school alone are there every year?
From years to year, year to year, but usually between 80 and 120 kids. It's one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club. Yeah, and they do a lot of community service, but you show them to fall in love with history, and show them that it's a bearing point for them, and it's not just a boring story you puke out on a quiz. And you got it. It's an experience.
Fisk, what's your favorite? Yeah, right. There's a story behind it. There's something more to engage in. That's a great point, KD. Fisk, what was your favorite episode?
Oh, that's difficult. I loved them all. I was so privileged. I was honored to just sit there and watch how these all came together, and how Butte was portrayed. My God, we're beautiful here. We live in a beautiful community, and we've said that for decades, but some like to make fun unknowingly, But if I had to choose the one, I'd say it was the finale. I enjoyed the finale, the linkage between all the other sites that had issues, and how it was resolved. I loved it. I thought the last one was beautiful.
All right, KD, what about you? What was your standout favorite episode of season 4 of Ghosts of?
I'm gonna agree with Brian on this one. I didn't like which way. Okay, so yeah, the Cabbage Patch was probably the most powerful. The best tying everything in, obviously, as far as story goes and everything was the final episode, right? Because that brought everything together, even as far as evidence and everything. We all got something that linked up together, and it was it took all of us and all of our skills combined kind of like Voltron, to or Captain Planet.
And the nerd card has been played
to solve the case, right? And to figure out what we had to do to put this thing at rest. But like the Cabbage Patch, definitely the most like powerful, I feel like, because of what happened to you, Dave, and also you know, as far as like touching that with the kids and everything, you know, that was great. And it was great to get to investigate with them. And, you know, I thought I was worried that Dave had left me for a minute because I was gone for so long, because I had gone into the next building over. I went into investigation mode again with Mackenzie and everybody, and we were all over there. And that was such a fun investigation, but also powerful, and also told such a great story. And the way all the evidence just lined up, I thought that was just a great display of everything all in one episode.
My favorite part for KD, if I could throw this out,
sure,
at the courthouse, when you came in with a paranormal investigation tool that looked like an M1 Abrams. I don't know if you were ghost hunting or going to war, but I mean, it had everything you needed.
Yes,
and that
was the ITC station, brother. That was
it.
Yeah,
I fell in love with PP2 from your first episode, and I'm gonna have one of those before all is said and done.
I'm gonna get you hooked up.
I will have you know that Lindsay, the trolley driver, she'd go, "Hey, what was it you want, Fisk?" And Fisk would go, "I want a PP2." And then everybody on the trolley would start laughing at him. And it took 2 nights of it before he realized what she was setting him up for. Yeah, and he goes, exactly. "What? I want a PP2."
I just got that, dude.
Oh God, Fisk, they got you this time.
Howled.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's all right.
Hilarious.
And I can take it as well as dish it out. And obviously we dish it out pretty good on the hauntings tours, the spooks and spirits. So.
I will say it's interesting. When I talked to Cindy, one of her favorite episodes is the Cabbage Patch. So what I've noticed is that my 2 co-hosts on the show and my director all really appreciated the episode I really wasn't much of a part of.
I felt where you were going with that, Dave, and you know, that's not you know.
I know.
But you know, but it really wasn't it? Like, Cindy, I mean, there was a lot kind of cut out of that, probably for the sake of editing and like also
time.
Like y'all probably didn't have enough people to beep out Cindy when they were getting help, and she was giving the cameraman what for, because
you know, people that don't know, when I went down, Cindy first of all was worried about me. Second of all, she was just blown away that like nobody just dropped cameras and started giving me CPR. It was, you know, she was very upset and very protective of me, which I'm so appreciative of. And they were trying to explain to her the cameramen are like National Geographic camera guys. You know, you don't, if the gazelle gets attacked by the lion, you just got to film it. So they were filming it. But Brian was Johnny on the spot. You were there like 8 seconds after that, checking me out.
I made sure you were fine. And then I was like, Cindy, calm down. Woosah. Dave's not bleeding. He's gonna be okay. We just got, you know, the help's going to get him. We're fine. It's their job. We love you. We just please don't hurt any of us.
The cop came up to me that was there that night, and he talked to me at the little after party at the bar, Solancha's, and he goes, "I was worried about you, man. I thought you were checking out that night. I was worried." And I'm like, "Oh, well, you weren't the only one. When I hit the ground, I thought I was having a heart attack or something bad had just burst inside."
He did,
me.
Officer St. Pierre. And that was actually a point of discussion with a lot of them the next day when they had their big meeting at the courthouse, that these things happen. Only sometimes you don't have an answer for why, and you still need to react. And so sad enough that lesson was delivered, and it was delivered by you, Dave, you know?
Yeah. What's on the head?
Tapper light,
baby.
Yep. I'd say my favorite episode really was the Hennessy House, because it opened me up to a different type of experience. It is one of the most troubling experiences of my career. It was fascinating and terrifying and exhilarating all at once. And so that one really goes down for me, but just it you know, being able to help the Heddick family and the Fink family, being that was more of a personal nature, was pretty cool. And I did say the one thing that bums me out from episode 7 when we go to town hall was that that in the edit they couldn't use the Ghostbusters breakthrough moment when KD and I, because when Brian's like, we got to get up there, and we're like, all right, and he goes, we're gonna film you coming out, and I'm like, all right, can we just do one take like the Ghostbusters? And Brian's like, oh God, what are you guys gonna do? And we're like, just give us so who was it that climbed up and was above us shooting down? Do you remember which camera guy?
Probably JJ.
JJ. Yep, that was JJ.
And Jolly is out there. You're going, and you guys are like, okay, ready and action. And Katie and I blast those doors open and just come charging out like it's down the steps of the librry in Ghostbusters around that corner.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
I thought the take was pretty good. I thought the energy, I think it captured what we were doing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, considering that was like the second or third take, and I was well winded by then, wasn't I? As we're going, you could see I was a little bit slower. Yeah,
because we had to not just out of the front door. It wasn't like a couple takes out the front door. It was a couple takes out the front door and all the way up that hill.
Up
right
that
next to
hill.
the church.
Holy Christmas!
Great times. It was, I was starting to feel it there towards the end. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, Peterson, really?
It was funny.
Light, they're not just empty props.
When we were talking, and again, the questions come up when we were out there, is there acting? And I go, yeah, there's acting. I said, because you idiots in this town don't have mufflers on your car. We got to repeat ourselves 100 times. And as I'm explaining it, all of a sudden you're outside. And
hey, we'll have to talk to the mayor about that tax incentive about muffler removal.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm sure that's what's causing it. I'm just kidding.
It's no wonder the spirits in Butte are all wound up when you've got the mufflers blaring. We've got to repeat the lines every 3 minutes because
hold sound.
Yeah, you have a great thought, and you're like, and Brian's like, what are you thinking, Dave? So this is what's going on, blah blah blah, and all of a sudden, outside the front doors, and he's like, man, that was so good, Dave. Can you say it again with that same energy? And you try and take 5 because the trucks just don't stop.
So
people want to know why we ghost hunt at night. It's because that's when Butte's asleep and we have a chance to film.
Yes.
They've got another large production happening in town. I'm not quite sure about TV rules and whatever, so I won't say what it is. But when I say big, they've got 100 extras and 50 horses and 70 antique Model 8 cars.
And Harrison Ford.
Oh, okay, one of those. Okay,
and
I'm fine with
this
that.
muffler thing has come to the attention of our city fathers, and so it's going to get addressed. It's one thing to shut down, 8 or 10 of us in a church. It's a whole nother when they scream cut on, a few 100,000 a day. Yeah. And by gosh, it was an issue there as well. So,
I bet.
Yeah.
But we have to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll continue talking about the season finale and more. We've got a lot to cover on our plate, so make sure you stay with us. We'll do that right after this.
Hey, it's Chris Jericho here, just reminding you about the 4-leaf clover. Chris Jericho's Rock and Wrestling Rager at Sea, the 4th voyage, leaving February 2nd from Miami to Great Stirrup Key, our very own private island. This is going to be the biggest and best Jericho cruise ever, with the biggest lineup, the most fun. I guarantee it. Come join us for the vacation and the party of a lifetime. ChrisJerichoCruise.com. Cabin's still available. I want to see you there.
Haunted Magazine, issue 35, is out 6th September, featuring the Feminine Macabre, Vampires, the Gold Camp Road, Jamaica Inn, ESP, Australia's spookiest spectres, Richard Estep investigates Shepton Mallet Prison, the Roswell Incident, 75 years on, The Burden of Lizzie Borden by Sam Beltrusis, the seminal Ghostwatch hits 30, plus an in-depth chat with ghost hunter Barry Guy. Order in print from the Haunted Magazine website or visit WH Smith in the UK, Barnes & Noble in the US, and outlets in Canada and Australia. Also available in the app stores. And remember, don't be normal, be paranormal.
Urban's Edge Tattoo Aftercare is the first ethically sourced, all-natural, vegan, and organic tattoo care line on the market. All of our products are formulated by leading experts in the skincare industry and are developed especially to nourish, enhance, and preserve your tattoos. Our tattoo enhancing balms are non-greasy and the perfect consistency for daily use. They're absorbent, hydrating, restorative, and are guaranteed to bring life back into your artwork. Visit www.urbansedgetattoo.com to order your starter kit today. That's www.urbansedgetattoo.com.
And listen, friends, just because the series is over doesn't mean you can't go back and enjoy it multiple times. It's part of the Discovery Plus family. So go back, tell your friends, your family, your kids, your grandkids, wake up the neighbors, share Ghosts of Devil's Perch with them. You can still find it on Discovery Plus, and hopefully, maybe with a little luck, we'll see you again for a season 2. My guests tonight, Chris Fisk, the historian. We've got KD Stafford, our technician and paranormal investigator. And we've got Brian Peterson, our showrunner and executive producer out in the field. Guys, this was so much fun. Having come off of 2 seasons with you, Brian, on Holzer Files. This is a totally different element, totally different beast. And that was kind of rewarding, too, to get to go back to a town where everybody knows who you were and why we were there. And they all, just so you know, guys, everybody has a story. And they're all like, you need to come back because I've got a problem. And I'm like, don't tell me about it.
Yeah.
Tell Fisk. And if we get another production, let's see what we can do about helping you out. So there's not that there's a lot of major things going on out there yet, but people are starting to see a little brewing and bubbling going on in Butte. So maybe it's all the productions they're doing. Talk about, Katie, you'll appreciate this. Talk about the fact that we use elements in an investigation where we bring things from the time era, or we play music from that time era. And there are TV shows from different time eras that are filming in and around Butte, rebuilding sets and streets, rebuilding towns. Wow. It's creating a brand new trigger object of the entire town.
Like so a whole new catalyst, haunting catalyst.
Oh yeah. If you're looking for a reason for hauntings to come to life again, this has got to be confusing to the spirits of the town of Butte. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes.
I just want to add to that real quick, Dave. Even down here in Missouri, like I went to an event this past weekend in Joplin. It was a Paracon, and so I was just promoting Devil's Perch, and I had a couple people approach me after I spoke. And they handed me cards. One lady's card, she works at the Deer Lodge, and one of the, I think it's I can't remember what the place is exactly, but she says that that whole place is extremely haunted also, and it sits just right outside of Butte. I mean, I would even consider that almost like what part of Butte, Fisk, or
Anaconda?
Or like,
yeah, they're suburbs. Yeah. Butte's the major city closest to all of those.
Right, but these hauntings tend to stretch out, right? Like, for example, like in Morgan City, when we did Morgan City, one of the cases actually stretched out to a plantation house that was a good 20, 30 minutes down the road. And so we ended up doing an investigation there also, and it tied completely into the hauntings. It had completely everything to do with the hauntings that went on in Morgan City. So I'm just saying, it's like I'm getting even leads down here for stuff that's going on in Butte.
Well, historically, for so many decades, 40, 50, 60, 70 miles was a community. If you understand Bannock and Virginia City, Nevada City, in a state of 148,000 square miles, guys, that's our back door.
Right.
It's all connected.
I mean, there are so many elements, because when we're out there as a team looking at these locations and these stories, you kind of never know where it's going to go once we start learning. Once you told us about, James A. Murray, we started, all of us were kind of, trying to figure out where this could lead us to. So we were even doing research about, about the baths that he built, that he was a part of, I forget what, is it in Deer Lodge? There might be there's a haunted location. There's a haunted location out there as well. So all this stuff, there's all this, everything's tied together. There's so much interconnectivity in Butte. Every story is kind of connected to something else. It's really
and the lady that told me about the lead in Deer Lodge, she actually said she lived in Butte, but the house she lived in Butte was so haunted and she had so many problems there. She sold the house and moved to Deer Lodge just to realize the Deer Lodge was equally haunted.
Just as crazy. Sure.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Now with the season finale, all that we found throughout this entire season, from the ghosts at the Clark Chateau with Ferdinand Van Zandt and going on then to the Cabbage Patch with Richard Sims, and as we step it down in each episode, has very much revealed itself as that here we are looking at these spirits that are calling out to be remembered, spirits that have been forgotten and lost to time. And I thought what was really telling to me, Fisk, was there were some people that were at our screening that live in other towns around Montana. When they heard about this, they wanted to come in and watch. And they're like, boy, we've heard about Clark and we've heard about, and they're heroes in our towns. And it gave us a whole new way. And I said, well, I hope we didn't put a tarnish on those heroes, but I hope it also gives you a view of how they became that way.
Right. Well, truth's better than tarnish.
Right. And you're that's the way we have to look at it.
Sure, that made millions, but remember how they made those millions, guys.
Right.
From Fritz Augustus, Heinz Clark, Daly, Murray, numerous ones. Is they made that on the backs of the regular Joes in those towns. And they took advantage of it, especially the immigrants, because Butte was a true immigrant town with the Irish. In Ireland, you're paid 6 cents a day. In Butte, Montana, $3.25. So they get here, they're willing to work anywhere between 7 cents and $3.24.
Wow!
And our streets were paved with gold compared to them.
Right.
So, yeah.
Relatively, it was
remember our history was written for the rich.
Right.
Not the poor.
Right. Well, I'll even say this though, even with Hickey, in the final, even though he turned out to be the guy kind of pushing this whole thing, even he had good intentions, even though he appeared to be the dark one. That was a more of a cry for help or a
justification.
You're right. Right. So he even
of CU sulfide. My God, yeah.
Right. I mean, in his eyes, and that kind of that type of person who would become who he became, like that was a means to an ends for him. That was the means. It's like, however we got to get here, this is how we're going to do it. And I even was able to see him in even a positive light even after that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was funny because a lot of the people were approaching me before we watched the season finale, and when we're at the bar, they're like, you got to tell me, man, do I got to move this monster in the mine? Were you guys able to put this thing down? And we're like, I'm like, I can't. Yeah, I said, I can't tell you, but I'm back for a reason. And they're like, what does that mean? But the whole concept of, the villain is often the hero of his own story, and that was the case in this. These were angry spirits. They weren't demonic, they weren't evil, but when we start getting the first, and it's trying to make its presence known to us all along the way, and we just weren't picking up the pieces as quickly as it was hoping, and it gives us this story. When we kind of threw that back to you, Peterson, I know you guys have to. You're working with us, putting this moving puzzle together as things are revealing themselves. When we come up with this thing, the one, just for documentarian sakes, I mean, are you like, God, how do we take something this innocuous? What are we going to do? Just kind of giving us some of the production insight into that when something like that reveals itself.
Man, there's so much kind of, you've got to, when you go into any location, like any show, any location, you've got to have like this wealth of knowledge. It's kind of like all the possibilities that it could be to try to make sense, especially when you've got a psychic medium who could be talking to any random person. So you've got to have this kind of encyclopedic knowledge of as much as you can of the town or of a location. But man, when it was the one, that really threw me for a loop because I didn't know what the heck it was talking about. I mean, that's just putting that
Right.
on the Fisk and asking him to dig in the archive source. And lucky they got the Wolfpack and everybody there.
And we're like, the one, what is this? Is this like Legion? Is this, demonic realm?
Should I be looking for Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, right.
Like, are we in the Matrix? Is this even deeper than I thought it was? Okay. Yeah.
So throwing it to you, Fisk, we kind of, I know Brian was good at paring us down, and he's like, guys, I mean, let's look, because we originally, we looked at everything from elementals to the indigenous tribes of the area. What could this be? And then obviously for storytelling, we don't go into all of that, because what it does come out to be is we also threw that one segment to you. There's got to be a story. There's got to be a first in this town, the first tragedy, the first really well-known thing. And that kind of unfolded itself nicely to reveal itself. But, I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm picking up on elementals. I'm sure there's elementals, especially when you're moving the ground and changing the earth and running tunnels 10,000 miles underneath there. That's crazy. There's got to be some of that stirred up. But, the fact is that in this case, it was humanity. It's the cries of these spirits that had been lost to time that really wanted to be heard, and Michael Hickey was kind of their cheerleader, getting everybody rallied and being heard.
How that all played out. You got to give credit where it's due. The archives, Lindsay and Jim and the Wolfpack and Jav, to make those connections. When you say the first in Butte, is it the first claims? Was it Pete McMahon, Allison, any of the O'Rourke's, or was it the first to really hit copper, a big piece of copper, and that would have been Crazy Billy Parks, or was it, the Anaconda, this Michael Hickey who wanted it for its silver and thought not much further than that, but simply ran out of money, And when Marcus Daly looked at that, boy, he knew what was there. He knew that the silver was waning. That was number one. Number two, underneath it, he knew there'd be copper, didn't know how much. And number three, he speculated that the country, the world, was going to need copper. Telephone, telegraph, the light bulb. And that was the dice that he threw. Not much of dice. I think he knew exactly what Hickey had. And in true fashion, to the victors go the spoils and the history. And Michael Hickey was left out. So when we hit that, we had a pretty good idea. He was the one. But of course, until you guys got it back with your secondary investigations, we didn't know, especially the stuff that KD caught. It's finding that needle in a haystack and then making that linkage. And it's kind of cool. If you guys really think about this, in all of these cases, this is truly a point where history talked back to you. It opened up a world of consideration that it's always been there, but really never considered. Little Willie Corrette, Herb Sargent and that tragedy. How many more? Oh my gosh, Michael Hickey.
This weekend, I met the granddaughter of the guy. Guys, check that. I met the granddaughter of the guy that Herb Sargent went and shot.
Correct. Wow. And by the way, Herb Sargent, after shooting the gentleman, more in the upper shoulder,
right?
And then Herb Sargent took off running, and then unfortunately was dumb enough to take a shot at a Butte, Montana deputy. I mean, these guys are so highly well trained. That individual that had to shoot and kill Herb Sargent is still in our community. He's still here. Yeah. He's very much a part of our community. We ask people in our lives to do things that we can't. And Mel Rao was one of those. And he did his duty. God bless him. But the linkage, how that all came together, absolutely incredible. And to take that, Brian, with what Cindy is bringing you, what KD's bringing you, what Dave is pushing into there, and then bringing it to a storyline that's palatable, that's got to be challenging. I mean, I don't want to say impossible. Obviously it isn't, because it turned out really well. I mean, you had to have had some sleepless nights here.
Oh, he had plenty of sleepless nights dealing with us. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I lost a lot of weight. I lost a lot of weight when I was in Butte. A lot of sleepless nights pacing that town. But lucky there's no open container laws. I was posting, I was wandering the streets of Butte with a beer in my hand, trying to figure out
what am I going to do?
And you did that.
What am I doing to do?
You took time for yourself to scramble that out. You saw a lot of Butte in the dark.
I did see a lot of Butte. I met a lot of Buttians. They're good people. We had a good time there.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, the community talking about their history. That's what I thought was so beautiful in this meeting going out there. I just wanted to go be part of Butte for that final season finale. Whether we ever get to go back or film another episode, I just wanted to be in that environment. And I'm glad I went, because getting a chance to see and hear and people just coming up and hugging you and thanking us. And please tell Katie and Cindy, thank you so much
for
what
you
guys brought to our
hear
community.
That?
Yeah, constantly.
Where's Cindy? How are they?
Yeah.
I'll bet we heard it 100 times a day.
Yeah,
and that's loyal. That's Butte loyalty.
Oh, I plan on coming back to Butte regardless. I'm coming back to Butte to visit regardless.
Oh, heck yeah.
I've already talked to Jeanette. Jeanette's got some plans in the future for some stuff she wants to do out there. I know, Dave, you probably already talked to her too. So I definitely want to come up and be a part of that for sure.
Did you see the did you see the on the little marquee outside the church? I kept putting Butte strong, or I put
days since last paranormal incident, 0 or 11 or whatever.
I had a bunch of them. I put meanwhile back at headquarters on one, or I put early the next morning, I was bored some morning.
You should have put one of them should have said, in a mining town far, far away.
Yeah.
long ago in a mining town far, far away.
Yeah.
Does that make me Darth Schrader?
Oh, we got a new one for you, Dave.
I like
new
it.
Nickname.
KD, I am your father.
That's impossible.
Like
that can't be true.
Yep. We've got the spirits we have these spirits that come out and make themselves known. We've got the families that make themselves known, the people that want their stories shared, history shared. Were you surprised, Chris? I mean, obviously, you've got a rich history in that town, and people love it because every year you got 120 students signed up into the history club learning this. Were you surprised at how well received the series was from all of the people watching?
You know what? I really wasn't. And let me tell you why. Because Butte is not this megatropolis. I mean, Butte people notice things, obviously. Mm-hmm. And when you see camera crews around town and taking up a, over 100-year-old church, people notice things. And that's not a bad thing in Butte. That's not a bad thing at all. And in fact, they embrace it. And so when they heard that this was, paranormal in nature, of course, we all couldn't really talk about much or anything. Right. They were excited because they know how haunted Butte is. Furthermore, you came to a community that's got so much pride in itself, that truly believes that where they've been and where they're going is part of the future. It's part of their future, and they're proud of it. My God, this town's deadly proud of it. And so the fact that you guys were here was incredibly well accepted. I would assume all of you would agree. Brian, you didn't have a lot of doors you needed broken down. Here's you got the chief executive and the sheriff taking you on top of the, courthouse saying, hey, my city's got a problem and we need to take care of it. And the problem sounds crazy, except to you guys.
Yeah.
So when you address it like that, good question,
now,
Dave.
We had, obviously in this one, there was a lot going on, and Cindy and Katie were tapping in and connecting, and we were able to capture EVP, physical, automatic writing, the direct voice phenomena coming through the spirit boxes. We were there at the culmination. This spirit realm wanted to be heard in those minds. A lot of people want to know, I got cracked in the back pretty good. And I told them that, I was mentioning some of the people there, again, some of the behind the scenes stuff. at one point Brian was filming and he had a camera because we're trying to get all the angles we can in there and we're all trying to separate out so we're not right on top of each other. His camera went dead probably 5 minutes before I ended up taking the hit. So that energy was pooling, and that's why all the equipment was going nuts. And I was telling him when I got hit and I went down, I just remember our camera guy going, "Oh, shh." And just, what's going on? And he's like talking it out. And I hit the ground, pivoted. And, you know, the question everybody kept asking me was, what, you know, geez, how do you keep getting knocked down? Why do you? Because listen, we're there for that. We put ourselves into the position. You know, Cindy leads us with empathy and heart, and Katie's in there with the logic of the science of what are we doing in there. We've got to kind of give this chance for the spirits to be heard. And it's real easy to do the fight or flight and run like a chicken out of the building screaming, but that's not going to help Butte, and that's not going to help the spirits that we came there to take care of. And trust me, there were pep talks. Brian would take me aside and he's like, "I know you're rattled. I know you don't want to go back in there, man, but you got to go back in there. That's what we're here for." And I'm like, I know, but I just need another 15 minutes to breathe because it got heavy.
Yeah, that's like I always tell people, you know, like with you getting hurt in some of the episodes or physically attacked in a few episodes, Dave. Like, you know, there's a lot of people like, you know, were you scared to go any further after that point after you knew? And I'm like, first of all, I didn't even know that happened to Dave right when it happened to Dave, because we were somewhere else completely. Cindy and I we were doing that thing while he was doing that thing. It was simultaneous, right? But also, but on top of that, Dave knows as well as I do that these are occupational hazards. Kind of, they're like it's like policemen, right? Policemen, they go in and they do what they do. Obviously, we're nowhere near. I'm not saying we're anywhere near as brave as policemen are with what we do, but I'm saying it's similar in the sense that we know there are dangers. They're clear and present dangers. Not to quote a movie title, but that we know we're going to face. We know there's a potential for facing, but yet, like, we know there's a job to do. We have people that are counting on us, and it has to be done. Somebody's got to do it, and we want to be the ones to do it, as opposed to put somebody else in that position also.
We also faced off when we were down there. We had this moment and kind of came together again as a team. Another one of the scenes that didn't make the final edit was we had an Irish prayer for lost souls that we read out loud together as a team to try to help those souls. And our goal was to, wherever we went, was to help. And a lot of people are like, I really appreciate how you help these families in the town. And I can't say it enough. We weren't there for the family or the town as much as we were there for the spirits to be heard. So you take these hazards, you take these moments, and the idea is if you help that, if you go to the core root of the problem, then everything else is going to take care of itself, and the families are going to be safe, and the town's going to be in a better position.
Well,
everything will kind of fall into place.
Yeah, that was appreciative of that. If you recall, can you hit the light, please? As if you recall, Dave, the gal came up to you with a gift, you know, and said, "I wanted to give this to you. Thank you for praying for our town."
Yeah.
And that's not the only places, you know, with every single episode, people would go to work in Butte or to school and discuss that day's or the night before's, you know, rendition, an episode of The Ghosts of Devil's Perch. Three Bears, Alaska. This was main topic discussion absolutely every Monday morning. And it was store-wide, all the employees, you know, and when you get a good following like that, you know that you did right, that you did well by a community.
Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's taxing. I mean, boy, if we do get put back in, I don't know. We got to make an aluminum foil hat for Cindy so she gets a break at some point.
Yeah, I'll make her a new kind of helmet, like a Magneto helmet to wear to block out.
Get me one too, man, because she's reading my mind.
You want one? Okay.
Like,
I'll get you one so she can't read your brain thoughts.
Amen. she's on another level, man.
Yeah. No, she read me several times, freaked me out. I'm like, all right, Cindy.
We can't tell it enough, the fact that, you know, and I'm sorry she can't be here with us tonight to hear the accolades as well, but the success of a show like this is a big burden on the shoulders of mediums. And although you can't necessarily corroborate it by visual, by her telling you what she's sensing and feeling, we're able to pull that information, take it somewhere else, and it blossoms, man. We take those seeds, and Fisk runs wild with his team and finds the root of it, and we're able to communicate and gives names to KD, so when he goes back, he's got something to work with the development.
And also it helps to validate what she had got, you know, and that just like stackable evidence, right? And then so she's just double validated by that, as if she even needs it. She doesn't need it, but it's a good also additional visual or audio to go along with that.
Well, it gave your researchers, you know, the Wolfpack and the archives, myself, Jav, it gave us direction. You know, we weren't just feeling around in the dark until something pokes us and go, maybe this is it. And that's so vitally important. You know, that's half your battle, is some level of direction. You don't have who, you don't have year, you don't have what or when, but by gosh, you do have a name. You've got a scenario that you're looking for. Impressive. My God, impressive.
And I just want to say also that Dave, without Mr. Dave Schrader's abilities as just the paranormal investigator and his experience as a paranormal investigator, he's been doing this for a long time.
All right, simmer down. Stop quoting.
but for real, his knowledge base is so huge. It's like you ask this guy about anything, and he's like, oh yeah, this that. He already knows more about it than you do. And to have his golden voice kind of narrating the whole thing, that was without that, I don't think the show would have been what it was. You know what I mean?
No. Well, thank you.
Well, I didn't want you just complimenting us, and
and we got to watch the blossoming of an electronic medium, because that's what you are as well on the show. You know, we're at the end. We can all pat each other and hug now. So you watched KD, and I really believe that it is abilities like Cindy's being portrayed in a different way, and he's become a conduit and a channel for that. So it was great. Good chemistry, good connection, and great equipment. So again, tell people, KD, I know they're asking me there, are you guys selling any of the equipment? How do people order the equipment if they'd like to get some from you?
Okay, we're making Supernatural Inc. like an official LLC right now, so we can be more efficient at selling equipment to more people. But right now, you can go to Supernatural Inc. Paranormal.com, and that'll take you to the Facebook page. And basically, just go to our Facebook page, Supernatural Inc., and you can direct messages through there, and you can look through all our pictures, kind of pick out what you want. I think we have a store on there as well. You can kind of pick out the piece you want. If it's a piece that was in the show, just let us know, and we'll know exactly what you're talking about. We'll tell you how it works and everything, what it does, and we can hook right up.
And I'll have a link. It's right on today's program guide, so you can find a link to go in and order it. Fisk, your tours sell out without any help already, and now with the Devil's Perch, you said you just couldn't keep up with the demand for tickets. We can't keep up
with them. And we hate leaving anyone behind, but we're looking at a position where we may have to even go halfway through November, third week in November, to get everyone satisfied. We're talking, I don't want to say hundreds of calls a day, but my God, pretty close. And that has been very successful.
Isn't that JP's daughter in there taking the tickets?
Yes.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Keeping her busy.
Absolutely, the whole Gallagher family, and I from Butte to you guys and Cindy, thank you. You did you did great by us, and Brian, if you remember when we first talked about the history of Butte and what my role might be, my biggest concern was that you did right by the mining city, and you guys really, really did. And we love you for that. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you.
Well, look, man. Look, you get in this industry, you can get in TV, you can get kind of sent to random places. You don't always have control over where you're going. And I didn't know what to think. Going to somewhere for 3.5 months, 4 months. honestly, the first thing I thought, I Googled Butte and I saw it was right next to a big lake. And I thought, heck, I like to swim every day.
Yeah, you don't want to swim in that lake.
You don't.
I thought, sign me up, you know.
They'll be shooting at you to get you out of the water, pal.
But look, honestly, the people there were so kind, and there was not a single door that wasn't open for us. And I mean, I couldn't think of a better place to spend, you know, that amount of time. It was really a special experience, bonding with the town and the people there, and sharing their stories, and with you guys as well, and obviously KD and Dave and Cindy as well. So thank you very much for the experience.
Yeah, the pleasure is all on this side of
Right.
of the table here, Fisk. Like I think our time in Butte was probably we feel like it was more impactful to us, you know, and we appreciate the town letting us come there and letting us help, letting us be the ones to help out with it.
Oh my
It's
God.
definitely an honor for me, and I'm sure for Dave and Cindy also, and Peterson.
We'll take you guys back any day. I guess you could say you spent enough time here. I guess that kind of makes you guys Butte.
Oh, well, I do have a Tapper Light hat on.
Tapper
so,
Light.
You know, I brought some back to Missouri with me.
Yeah.
Oh, I have that hat upstairs.
That's one.
I had enough fried pork sandwiches, I think, as well. So,
pork chop.
Oh yeah! Oh my God, warms you up from the inside.
Absolutely, that's good food, isn't it?
So good.
Everything.
The thing about visiting Butte, guys, everything you eat's low cal and low fat. So enjoy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Ghost calories. Well, that's it. Sadly, we are at the end of this great point of all of us coming together, and whether we get to see another season or not, it was truly a pleasure. And when you saw the emotion that I portrayed in that last episode, I think that was relayed from Cindy, KD, and I saw it playing out, and I could hear the sniffles around me in the theater. And I've been inundated with messages telling me they bawled their eyes out watching the last episode and how it came together. So thank you to all the viewers and all the supporters, not just of the Paranormal 60, but the Ghost of Devil's Perch and all the programs we've been a part of with the Holzer Files and Ghost of Morgan City and everything. Thank you, and continue your journey into the unknown. And remember, it all starts with history. Don't forget that the history is what's going to tell you what's going on around you at all times. And those spirits, they want to be heard. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts to the bottom of yours. May you all have a fantastic and remarkable rest of your year.
Tapper Light.
Which one's the guy that we were going to meet?